So what do you do when Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion ignore your disputes and refuse to fix incorrect information on your credit report? My name is Michael Waslick. I'm one of the lawyers at Ricardo and Waslick, and together with my partner Jason Ricardo, I help people just like you overcome debt collection with dignity. Today I'm going to tell you what happened when one of our clients disputed obviously wrong information on her credit report. Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion ignored our dispute, and we made them regret it. So we had a client, I'll call her Karen. Not that Karen, but we'll call her Karen. Karen came to us because she had a foreclosure case. We helped her beat her foreclosure and keep her home. Even though we won the case, the bank was still misreporting her loan on her credit report. False and incorrect information was still appearing on all three of her credit reports. So we helped her dispute that false information on her account. And just like we tell you to do, Karen disputed everything, certified mail, return receipt, got green cards, got proof of the disputes, and then you can guess what happened next. All the disputed information came back verified, even though it was clearly wrong. They basically ignored us. We had a clearly bad debt. We had a valid dispute, and we had documentation of everything that we were claiming was wrong, and still the account came back as verified, even though it was clearly wrong. So how many of you have had that happen? You've disputed an obviously wrong item on your report, only to have the big three bureaus ignore you, treat you like they didn't exist, and just verify even though they had the proof they needed to show the information was wrong. So tell us in the comments section, what was your dispute? Which bureaus did you try to dispute with, and which ones ignored you? Have you been able to fix it, or are you still wondering what to do next? Tell us in the comments section below. We do our best to answer every single comment we get. So back to Karen's story. Once we figured out that the bureaus were going to ignore us, we had a client strategy session, because when the bureaus ignore valid disputes, they are breaking the law because they have a duty to reasonably investigate every dispute they get. And when you provide the documentation, you're giving them all the tools they need to figure out for themselves whether the account is valid or not. And if you have the proper documentation, they should be able to tell just from your papers that they need to either correct or delete the bad information from your report. If they fail to make that reasonable investigation, if you give them everything they need to figure out that the debt is wrong and they don't do their duty, they are breaking the law. A lot of you probably have had a similar experience because in January of this year, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is the government watchdog that oversees the credit reporting agencies, rolled out a report showing a skyrocketing number of complaints to the CFPB about the credit reporting agencies and their bad conduct, their law-breaking behavior. Specifically, people were complaining that they had valid disputes that the bureaus simply ignored. And the CFPB did an investigation. They dug into the numbers and they figured out a disturbing trend. What the CFPB found is that the bureaus are granting relief in fewer and fewer cases, and they're handling those disputes more and more quickly so that they can get rid of them faster without granting relief. So for example, in 2019, the CFPB found that 25% of complaints about credit reporting agencies resulted in relief. But in 2021, only 2% of complaints resulted in relief. That's right, only 2% of the complaints made to the CFPB about credit reporting agencies resulted in relief to the consumer. The CFPB specifically found that the bureaus routinely ignore their obligations and they make up criteria to reject disputes under false pretenses. And because of this, they leave many consumers without any response to the issues that they raise in their complaint. If you're having trouble getting TransUnion, Equifax, or Experian to even acknowledge your existence, you're not alone, because they have a pattern and practice of ignoring you, and they even ignore the federal government. The last point I want to raise about this report, the CFPB concluded that the behavior of the credit reporting agencies raised serious questions about whether they were unwilling or unable to comply with the law. I'm going to give a shout out right here to John Watts, Alabama consumer lawyer. He's got a great YouTube channel. He's talked about this report on videos on his channel. I strongly recommend that you check out John's channel if you have questions about credit reporting and how the credit reporting agencies are failing in their legal duty to report accurate information. Check the description for a link to John's channel. So back to Karen's story. What do you do when a credit reporting agency refuses to obey the law, refuses to reasonably investigate a documented dispute, refuses to correct obviously incorrect information, refuses to delete unverifiable information, what do you do when your dispute is completely ignored? And what did we do to make Equifax, Experian, and TransUnion regret ignoring our client Karen? There is one ultimate weapon that you as a consumer have against every credit reporting agency that refuses to obey the law. It's something you probably won't find out about if you're only reading about credit repair online or following credit repair channels from people who aren't lawyers, because they don't have this tool in their toolbox and they can't use this hammer for you. In fact, the vast majority of people who hold them out to be credit repair specialists have no idea this exists, won't even tell you it exists, and have no way of using it to your advantage. And that is that you have a right to go to court and sue credit reporting agencies if they break the law and cause you damages. And during this client strategy session, that's exactly what we decided Karen should do. She needed to go to court, she needed to file a lawsuit against the big three bureaus and punish them for not investigating her dispute. And as an added bonus, because the bank was part of the problem, was part of the reason why the information was being reported falsely, she got to sue them too. Karen's not her real name, and I can't actually tell you how this case ended, but what I can tell you is that if I had a case like Karen's, I would gladly take it again, and so would anyone in Karen's shoes. So what should you do if the bureaus have ignored your dispute of inaccurate, obsolete, incomplete, or unverifiable information? Think about what Karen did. You should think about taking them to court. If you want to learn more about getting bad information off your credit report, follow the link I'm going to put up on the screen. If this has helped you or been valuable to you in any way, leave a like so I know to make more videos just like this. Drop a comment if you have a question. We'll respond to those in the comment section below. And if you know somebody who needs this information, share it using the share button. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.